Welcome. Today I will be paraphrasing, summarizing, and sharing for the March 30th Al-Anon readings in Courage to Change and a little time for myself. We'll begin with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. And today is my niece's birthday. I only have one niece. She's a very beautiful, wonderful person, so I'm thinking of her today. I'm going to take a minute to look this over. The question is, when I feel a scarcity in my life, how do I alleviate those fears? And this passage is about a woman who left her alcoholic husband with her 2 small children. And she talks about the process of meeting someone on an online dating site and working her program and not taking things personally. And eventually she found someone really, really nice. He loved, accepted, and supported her. And she found that she wasn't afraid to lose him. She had faith that if it wasn't her higher power's will, that someone else would come into her life or some other positive opportunity. And she realized that abundance is all around her and everyone. She sometimes feels fear that there isn't enough time, love, money, or opportunities, but when she trusts her higher power, her perspective changes. And today's reminder, with our higher power, we see that everything we need and more is within our reach. And the quote from Hope for today, I know I will always have enough. That's beautiful. How do I alleviate fears of scarcity? It's something that I listen to a lot when I listen to spiritual teachers or when I read their writings. And it's always about abundance and how we always have everything that we need. And if we don't feel like we have it, it's never far away. And a lot of it has to do with like living your life like you already have it. And I know that may not make perfect sense, but that's what they always say. Like, you live your life as if you already have it, and then somehow it comes to you. You think of a way to, or you're guided in a way that you end up getting what you need. And I actually just heard, I watched a video, which is, I guess it's kind of a podcast. It's Dr. Mayim Bialik, and she was interviewing Deepak Chopra, and they were talking about this. They were talking about how I don't think they ever used the word manifesting, but that's like the kind of one of the buzzwords now. Not just now, but I feel like people say that a lot. But they were basically talking about believing, believing in your heart that you have everything that you need and that it just works out that way. The universe just works that way, that you get what you need. And that may sound kind of woo-woo, but all the spiritual teachers talk about it. And Al-Anon talks about it. Al-Anon is talking about it right here. So I think that it goes back to what I always say for myself, which is trust and love rather than fear and doubt. And I think that um, there's a power to what I think. And what I think is more likely to happen if I repeatedly think about something, if I repeatedly, if that's the energy that I'm putting into the universe, then that is what is most likely to happen. And so I work really hard to put positive, loving, abundant thoughts. I work hard to keep those in my head, and I work hard to kind of spread that wherever I am. So I don't know if you heard that. That was my timer for the daily meditation with Pam Gregory. We are welcoming in we are welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love. That's the mantra. We are welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love. She's doing the same thing. She's saying we all get together, we meditate, we have that particular mantra. We are welcoming in an expanded consciousness of love. And she's saying that we are changing the world for the better because we're putting all that loving energy, and we're believing that it will happen. And I say, why not? It's definitely not hurting. And if it's helping, wow, even better. So, and that's exactly how I feel about alleviating fears of scarcity, is that just truly believing, praying, being grateful for what I have, and just realizing, like I've said this before, when I think about all the abundance in my life, when I think of all the things I'm grateful for, like there isn't enough paper to write it all down. Like there's just so much. So it's pretty amazing stuff. Pretty amazing. I'm going to take a moment to read this. Hmm. This is about focusing on ourselves. This person talks about doing all kinds of things for other people, but being resentful, and that realizing that you can't please everyone all the time, and focusing on people's responses were not were it wasn't helpful. So this person's sponsor helped them to give in a more unconditional way, to give what they wanted to give that was best for them, so that they could give without strings attached, and that was truly generous. Today's reminder: we focus on ourselves, attend our meetings, and make recovery our top priority. And that way we treat others with love and respect. And the quote is from the 12 Steps and Traditions. The 12 Steps and Traditions. When we achieve serenity, we're better able to help others. So it's so well written, very beautiful, and 100% true in my own experience. It's important that that things that I do, I'm doing because they're right for me. I feel good about them, and therefore, whoever receives anything, uh, it's up to them to receive it. Like, I already feel good because I'm doing what I want to do. So I'm not waiting for someone else's reaction, positive or negative, because I already feel good about the course of action that I've taken. And that's way easier to do when everything is going smoothly, which is usually the way things go for me. But every now and then, someone will be upset with something, and it's very likely uh, because they're working out something within themselves, and I realize that. But I will take a look, and if it has anything to do with me, I'll look for my part in the situation, and if I need to make amends, I will. But a lot of times, people just have their own stuff. Like, everyone's got their own stuff. I've got my own stuff, and I realize that. So it's just once I really understood that, it was so easy not to take things personally. Well, a lot easier to not take things personally because like everyone's got their stuff. So much stuff, so much stuff. But even if I treat someone with love and respect, they may not receive it. Usually they do, I've got to say. But sometimes people don't, and that is where they are. We can only control what we can control. And as long as I'm sure that I was acting lovingly and respectful, then I'm all set. We'll close out with the serenity prayer and 3 mindful breaths. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Sending you love. Take care.